Brother, thank you for doing this. This was crazy. So we had to get the guy that does this every day of his life to kind of help us to get this thing started. Vocab, from your experience, what is it?
I hate you so much right now. I hate you so much right now. 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 Hey guys, it's Neppy. Thank you for joining me once again for another session of Christian Black Woke, where we discuss issues related to being Christian, being Black, and or being woke. Today we're going to discuss a piece of evidence used by some Hebrew Israelites to prove that African Americans are neither African nor are they American, but their ancestry is found in the land of Israel. And this is the evidence that they use to prove that we are not descendants of Africans. Here it is. Ham, perhaps Hot, perhaps. The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. His descendancy, when his father lay drunken, brought a curse upon his indecency. His indecency, when his father lay drunken, brought a curse upon Canaan. I want to take you into the mind of when this dictionary entry was originally written and what the pervading thought of the day was, what people typically thought about Negroes. So here's a book written in 1900 entitled The Negro, a Beast, or In the Image of God. So this is a question, basically, this is a discussion. It's framing the discussion that it's about to have as to whether Negroes are beasts or were we created in the image of God. The term Semite is derived from Noah's son Shem, right? And then it talks about the 5, you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 descendants. And here they are. The Akkadians, which are Babylonian and Assyrians, the Arameans, then we have the Canaanites, but I thought Canaan was under Ham, huh? The Ethiopians and the Arabs and the Ethiopians are all considered Semites, but how can Canaan fit in here if he was supposed to be under Ham? Why you no make sense? Why you confuse me?
I want to read to you the speedy response I received from the Senior Vice President of Zondervan Publishing in response to my concerns about Nefer Nitty's bold claim with suggesting that the entry, not the Negro, comes from the racist book titled The Negro, a Beast. I want to thank Stan for responding to my concerns with a sense of urgency. This is what it says. Dear Pastor Richardson, thank you for sending this information to us, including the link to the video by Nefer Nitty. First, I want you to know that Zondervan would never knowingly publish something that was intended to support racism or discrimination based on one's ethnicity. This title was originally produced by a Zondervan employee and published back in the 1960s. This is the first time that I am aware of, and I have been with Zondervan for 40 years, that anyone has raised concerns about the article on Ham. I believe that Nitty's interpretation of the article is based on a misreading and misinterpretation of the dictionary article perpetuated by Black Hebrew Israelites. I hope the following is helpful. There is a certain irony in this interpretation of the phrase, not the Negroes. The Black Hebrew Israelites take the phrase out of context and use it as scholarly proof that Negroes are not Africans, but apparently Israelites. But Netty's links the phrase to a racist book apparently published in 1800 that attempted to support slavery of Negroes with scripture. Well, here's my response. First, it is highly unlikely that the editor who produced Zondervan's compact Bible dictionary was even aware of the book from 1800 that apparently argued that the exclusion of Negroes from the list of the descendants of Ham was evidence that they were not made in the image of God. In other words, that they were less than fully human, thus justifying the enslavement of Negroes. Why then does the editor of the dictionary include the phrase, not the Negro, in this article on Ham and his descendants? I can only guess, but here is the likely explanation. Noah pronounced a curse on Ham, one of Ham's sons, and said that Canaan. Why then does the editor of the dictionary include the phrase, not the Negro? In this article on Ham and his descendants, I can only guess, but here is the likely explanation. Noah pronounced a curse on Ham and one of Ham's sons and said that Canaan, and by implication, Canaan's descendants, would be a slave to his brothers and by implication to their descendants. Those who have attempted to argue that the Bible supports slavery of Negroes have also argued that Abram's curse on Ham's sons Canaan included Negroes. So it is likely that the editor of this dictionary included the phrase, not the Negroes, in order to make it clear that the curse on Ham, Canaan, did not at all have in mind Negroes. Therein is the irony in this situation. What the editor likely intended as evidence that the curse did not apply to Negroes is now being used as evidence that Negroes are less human and hence candidates for slavery. That raises the question, from which of Noah's sons do the Negroes come from? Answer, the text does not tell us, just as it does not tell us from which son Asians are descended. It is likely that the list of Noah's descendants are intended to be representative of all humanity, but not an exhaustive listing of every ethnic group. Of course, we must also remember that if the flood was not universal, in other words, worldwide, and did not destroy all of humanity worldwide, there could well have been people who survived the flood because it did not impact their part of the world. However, the question of whether or not the flood was worldwide and destroyed all of humanity except Noah and his descendants is a very controversial topic. In any event, the two different interpretations of the article on Ham by the Black Hebrew Israelites and Nefer are both wrong. They are reading ideas into the article that were not intended to be there and logically are not there. I want to reiterate the point Stan made. The phrase "not the Negro" has no connection to the book The Negro a Beast by Chas Carroll and the other books Nefer Nitty referenced in her video, nor does it have any connections with the belief that it means that the Negroes are Israelites. It was used to show that the Negroes was not cursed to be a slave.
And he dragged and lifted and hauled that cross. And don't you black people ever forget one thing. The man that helped Jesus carry that cross was a black man. And don't ever forget another thing. Jesus belongs to Africa as much as he does to Europe and Asia. He was born in that part of the world that touches Africa and Asia and Europe, and Jesus was not a white man like me, nor was he as black as some of you. We don't know what the color of his skin, but it must have been a dark color like the people of his day, because he was a man like them.